2 Kings chapters 1 and verse 10 says, And Elijah answered and said to the captain of 50, If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. Praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem Charakakwadash. Double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth, and salutes to all 144,000 elect out there. I'll back at you with another lesson. Just to back up the point, fire, Uzziah message meets Elijah. And I just had to do a little bit of digging here on this account, what happened with Elijah denouncing Uzziah, if I'm pronouncing it right, the king of Moab. So he rebelled against Israel, and we're going to look at this, right? We're going to look at this because and there's a reason why I'm getting into this in the spirit when you get to verse 9, right? Because once again, Elijah denounces Uzziah or Uzziah, Azariah. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Azariah. So he brings judgment on him, right? Because Azariah had fallen, brought a lettuce of his upper room in Samaria and injured himself. So he sent messengers and instructed them to go inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ikram, whether I will recover from this injury. But the angel of the Lord said to Elijah the Tishbite, Go up to meet the messenger of the king of Samaria and ask them, Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are on your way to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ikram? Therefore this is what the Lord says, You will not get up from the bed on which you are lying, you will surely die. So Elijah departed, right? The Most High sent Elijah to give him that message. You ain't going to recover, right? We're going to read up. We're going to read into this a bit. So Elijah departed. When the messenger returned to the king, he asked them, Why have you returned? They replied, A man came up to meet us and said, Go back to the king who sent you and tell him that this is what the Lord says. It is because there is no God, right? In the form of a question. Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are sending these men to inquire of Beelzebub, right? That's the idol, right? Which we know what happened to the idol. We know what idols are. They're dead. Can't speak, can't hear, can't talk, made of stone and other forms of metals. So they're idols, right? This is what's taking place. They replied, A man came up to meet us and said, Go back to the king who sent you and tell him that this is what the Lord says, right? Elijah the prophet. It is because there is no God. Is it because there is no God in Israel that you are sending these men to inquire of Beelzebub, the god of Ikram? Right? Therefore you will not get up from the bed on which you are lying, you will surely die. The king asked them, What sort of man came up to meet you and spoke these words to you? Yep. He was a hairy man, right? Because Elijah, the prophet Elijah, was described as a hairy man. Which, yeah, he was an Israelite. You get hairy Israelites, you do. Not as much as the Edomites, but yes, among Israel there are hairy, as far as on the arms and the chest. So he was described as a hairy man, right? Elijah was a hairy man when you read into it. And they answered with a lethal belt around his waist. And he was a hairy man, they answered, with a leather belt around his waist. It was Elijah the Tishbite, said the king. Now we're getting to the point. Then King Azariah sent to Elijah a captain with his company of 50 men. Right, because he wasn't happy that the message that he received, that you ain't going to get out from your bed, you ain't going to heal, because he wanted to hear, he wanted his ears to be tickled. Hence why he sent his servants to inquire of Baal, the fool's god, because the fool's god don't answer. So you could make up anything, because the fool's gods can't talk, and if they do, it's going to be from the left hand side. They're going to tell you what you want to hear. But the angel sent Elijah to tell him what he didn't want to hear. So this is what's taking place now in verses 9. He didn't like what he heard. Then King Hezekiah sent to Elijah a captain with his company of 50 men. So the captain went up to Elijah, who was sitting on the top of the hill, and said to him, Man of God, the king declares, come down. Elijah answered the captain. This is the answer. If I am a man of God, may fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50. Once again, there's a reason why I'm reading into this. Lord willing, I'm going to let you know why I'm reading this. And consume your 50. And fire came down from heaven and consumed the captain and his 50 men. So they get nyam up. And how I'll be visualizing this, which I did have a vision. How I'll be visualizing this, it was like, if you heard about men getting struck with lightning, all lightning is highly condensed fire. Highly condensed fire makes a laser. Condensed fire makes a laser. So it's like a lightning strike. Intensified fire to make a lightning strike. So 50 men of the captain was consumed. Which Hazariah's men was consumed, 50 of them, right? And the fire came down from heaven and consumed the captain and his 50. So the captain of 50, including the captain, was consumed with fire, like a deadly laser strike, a lightning strike. You hear about them lightning strikes, men getting struck by lightning. Sometimes they've survived, if the Most High wants them to. Sometimes he deletes them. And I got some I'm going to show you some visuals as well, some little visuals, because it happens today, right? It happens today. And fire came down from heaven and consumed the captain and his 50. So the king sent to Elijah another captain with his 50 men. And the captain said to Elijah, right, is another batch of men, Man of God, the king, declare, come down at once. And again Elijah replied, If I am a man of God, may fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. That's another batch. About 100 men there. 102, him and his captain. Once again. So, yeah, it happened then. It's documented, and it's happening today. In certain cases, in rare cases, but I'm going to say in the spirit, men of the Lord going to be doing that, right? When they come in like a flood once again. So another batch of consumed by Elijah, calling down fire from heaven. So ain't that enough evidence that he's a man of God? They asked the question, if you're a man of God, let fire. He asked them, if I'm a man of God, let fire come down and consume you and your 50. And that's what happened. So ain't they convinced? Let's see if they're convinced. Let's carry on in second part. Let's read 12 again. Again Elijah replied, If I am a man of God, may fire come down from heaven and consume you and your 50 men. And fire of God came down from heaven and consumed the captain and his 50 men once again. So the king sent a third captain with his 50 men, and the third captain went up, fell on his knees. He looks like he's a bit convinced. Fell on his knees before Elijah and begged him, Man of God, may my life and the lives of these 50 servants of yours please be precious in your sight. Behold, fire has come down from heaven and consumed the first two captains of 50. Right? He's relating it. Yeah, I've seen what's happened. I believe you are a man of God. I saw what happened. And he's relaying it back to him. Yeah. Behold, fire came down from heaven and consumed the first two captains of 50 with all their men. But now may my life be precious in your sight. I saw what happened. I'll bear witness. Don't consume me and my 50. He's begging him. Then the angel of the Lord said to Elijah, come down with him. Do not be afraid of him. Right. So that was the conclusion of that. So that's what happened. Right. He proved he was a man of God. Yeah. 100, about 200 was consumed and the captains. And then we had another third. He had to come down and beg. He said, I'll be a witness what happened. Don't let it happen to us. Yeah, because, yeah, our king is a hard-hearted head. King Azariah, he's hard-headed. He sent me as well, but I beg you, don't let me be consumed. So they proved, once again, this was not, there was more than one accounts of this. It happened with Bel as well, right? In other accounts where fire came down from heaven and consumed the wet trenches that showed he was a man of God. This was the kind of man Elijah was. He was a hands-on man. Hands-on, getting things done in the spirit and power spirit of the Lord. So the angel said, yeah, go down with him. Do not be afraid of him. So that was the conclusion of that. Now, that happened then. The reason why I brought this up, get into this, because I did have a vision. Fresh, quite fresh. In the back of my mind, it's still there. And you had the ice. You had ice, because we know what's happening over there in a lot of states in America. Right? They're deleting people. They're grabbing people up. Some of them are not even the real deal. Some of the ice are not even the real deal. And one got a bit too close, right? Got a bit too close to me. One ice member got a bit too close, and I remember specifically said, you better be careful when the ice got too close. I specifically said this, right? And it was down in my ends. I specifically said, you better be careful, because if I'm a man of God, I literally said, if I'm a man of God, let fire come down from heaven and consume you. And this was, I was talking to an ice member, because they did come in like a flood in this vision. Now, let me just show something here, because this be happening, and this is how I visualize the fire that came down from heaven in the time of Elijah. This is how I visualize it, right? Let's check this out.
Breaking news after 4 people were struck by lightning.
By the way, this did happen around 2022, the latter end of 2022, and he's going to let them speak. This is Fox News.
Today, this happened in Lafayette Park on Pennsylvania Avenue and Northwest just shortly before 7 tonight. Lindsay Watts is on scene with more on the details that we're learning. What a frightening situation, Lindsay. How did this happen? How are those people doing right now?
Sure, and in just the last few minutes, I learned from DC Fire and EMS that it was 2 men and 2 women who were apparently struck by lightning here near the White House. Fire officials say that all 4 of them were
near the White House, right?
Fox weather breaking news.
Right, let's get back. Sometime that be happening. Satan must be messing around. It's okay, let's get back. Satan be messing around, I believe. Let's bring it back. The news article.
Breaking news after 4 people were struck by lightning today. This happened in Lafayette Park on Pennsylvania Avenue and Northwest just shortly before 7 tonight. Lindsay Watts is on scene with more on the details that we're learning. What a frightening situation, Lindsay. How did this happen? How are those people doing right now?
Sure, and in just the last few minutes, I learned from DC Fire and EMS that it was 2 men and 2 women who were apparently struck by lightning here near the White House. Fire officials say that all 4 of them were transported to the hospital in critical condition.
Critical condition. Yep. Critical condition. Keeps on going like that. I don't know why. Right, there's another case here. Look, this man gets shook. This man. Look, you see? Your man got shook.
Wow, would you look at that composure? C-SPAN captured this moment. Lightning strikes right near a U.S. Marine sentry standing watch at the...
Yeah, because they know the terror of the Lord outside the Marine Center. They know the terror of the Lord. Let's see it again.
And captured this moment. Lightning strikes right near a U.S. Marine sentry standing watch at the White... Wow, would you look at that composure? C-SPAN captured this moment. Lightning strikes right near a U...
I don't want no more of that, because they know the fear of the Lord, and they are fearful people. They are very frightening people, fearful people. And I've been around them in the Christian church. When lightning be coming around, and they say they believe in God, they be fussing, you know, the Edomite men and the women, they be fussing and fighting and getting all kind of making noises and getting all scared, because they know they don't believe in God, but they say they don't believe in God, but they fear any signs of God's return, Yahweh's return. So that was a close call. He went inside. He said, "I don't want nothing more to do with this. Let me give you some more instances what happened."
Confirming 2 people have died from that lightning strike that happened yesterday by the White House. The strike was caught on camera as it landed in Lafayette Park, and police say they found 2 men and 2 women unconscious on scene. Now, the U.S. Secret Service and Park Police gave life-saving aid to the victims until paramedics arrived. Fox Weather breaking news here. Police confirming 2 people have died from that lightning strike that happened yesterday by the White House. The strike was caught on camera as it landed in Lafayette Park, and police say they found 2 men and 2 women unconscious on scene. Now, the U.S. Secret Service and Park Police gave life-saving aid to the victims until paramedics arrived.
Yep, 2 men died, 2 unconscious, critically, they were critically injured, and 2 of them were deleted. This is I remember this. I did do a video on it in the early years of 2020, the latter end of 2022. So I remember doing a video on this. Elderly couple dead following lightning strikes near White House. People got shook, and now when they get lightning, and there's men that get, once again, that was how I visualize it. What happened with Elijah when he deleted those 50 captains, 50 men under their captains, 50 men twice, around about 100, and the 2 captains, and the other one came begging for not for him not to be deleted as well, along with his captains. So it happened it's in the scriptures, and I believe it looks something like this. The lightning came down from heaven and struck them, and it convinced them that Elijah was a man of God. Now the vision I had, back to the vision I had, it was when it's starting to get hot, when ice was coming in, because this is all in the scriptures, and getting a bit too close. And I remember saying to he looked like he was a Edomite, kind of tall. He looked like could have been one of those ice guys, you know what they call him, they call them guys, man. Well, it's ice, isn't it? But they're on standby at the moment. National Guards and all of that, right? The National Guards, Trump's National Guards. So let's hit the precept. Psalms 105. Right? And I just remember saying, you better be careful, because if I'm a man of God, lightning will come out of heaven. And all I remember was seeing a lightning starting to come over. Light started to come over. And just before the lightning struck, he was going to strike him. I woke up. It was like, whoa, that was close. That's the vision I just had, man. I just said, all right, let me do a video on it, because I still remembered. Anyway, Psalms 105 and 13 says, when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sake. Back to King Hazariah. What Elijah did to King Hazariah. He deleted his captains and his men, the men under him, he deleted them via fire. which is intensified lightning is intensified fire. So it looks something like this. Lightning struck them, deleted them to death, put them to death straight away on the spot. That was an on the spot judgment. So he suffered no man to do them wrong. He reproved kings for their sake. That was their king, King Azariah, being reproved. And he could have, you know, the Most High had mercy on the last batch. Right? He had mercy on the last batch because he bear witness that, yeah, this is a man of God. Elijah is a man of God. Saying, Psalms 105 and 15, saying, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. Yeah, that's it. So we're going to be starting to see more incidents like this when they start to mess around and they started getting a bit too confident. Yeah, they're grabbing up the undesirables right now. The undesirables, the 2/3, because that's prophecy. That's Jacob's trouble. But when they start to mess around and get a little bit too close, right? When they start to get a little bit too close, when they went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another, he suffered no man to do them wrong. Yea, he reproved kings for their sake, saying, touch not mine anointed and do my prophets no harm. When they're coming like a flood, that's really what's going to happen. Yeah, when you get a bit too close, the Most High going to say, touch not my prophets. You could do what you like to the 2/3. They're wicked and they're prophesied to be cut off anyway in the Jacob's trouble. That's the wicked of our own people. But don't touch my men. Because if you do, if you do, fire gonna come down from heaven again and delete Uno. That what gonna happen. Fire gonna come down from heaven again. They don't want this video to play, but it must play. And delete Uno. Just like in the days of Elijah. See how they get shook? Look at that. They get shook. They get shook. Let me play this one again. Let me see, show this one on the visual here. Fire striking it. Fire striking it. Fire strike deletes 3 people. All that climate change. It's not nothing to do with no climate. Let me turn that sound down. Nothing to do with no climate change. The terror of the Lord. It happened then in the days of Elijah. It can happen anytime. Anytime. It's the spirit of the Lord. It's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing. Let's play some more, man. Let's play some more. More. We got evidence. We bring out facts to show you devils, man. Look at this guy getting shook, going back in the house. Right? Look at this. Look at him. They know the Most High is coming. See that? White ass Marine jumps. He got shook. Because they know lightning soon come for them. Fire go burn them. White ass Marine jumps after lightning strike. Ta come for you no. Kala Yehovah Ba'Shem Yahushai Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. Ba'Shem Rakah Kodash. One more. That's what it's going to look like.
Fox Weather breaking news here. Police confirming 2 people have died from that lightning strike that happened yesterday by the White House. The strike was caught on camera as it landed in Lafayette Park, and police say they found 2 men and 2 women unconscious on scene. Now, the U.S. Secret Service and Park Police gave life-saving aid to the victims until paramedics arrived. Fox Weather breaking news here. Police confirm.
Let me read it again. 2 Kings. I obviously like reading this. 2 Kings 1. I'm going to read from. I read 14. Behold, there came fire down from heaven and burnt up the 2 captains of the former 50s with their 50s. Therefore, let my life now be precious in thy sight. So this last one, the last batch, is begging. He said, I saw what happened. Fire did come out from heaven and consume them. So you are a man of God. I bear witness. The warrior by Shai once again putting the spirit on me to do this video. Once again, it was in my mind to do it because the vision I had. And I remember instinctively saying to what looked like an armed guard or National Guard or ICE, if I be a man of God, fire gonna come down out of heaven and burn you up. And then I just saw a star, looked like some kind of comet, just start to come on its way. So this movie will get more and more dramatic until the next one.